And we continue learning Dirshu Mishna Berurah, Siman Kuf Mem Dalid. We're going to wrap up Siman Kuf Mem Dalid with Sif Dalid. Says the Mechaber Ein Kairin LaAdam Echad B'Shnei Sifrei Torah. You can't call one person for an aliyah at two different Sifrei Torah. Mishum Pegamai. What does it mean? What's the Pegam over here? Perush explains the Mishnah Berurah, the Ramah really. Shenira, that it appears kipagum doifei barishain shel rishain. Seems that the first Sefer Torah was possible, so that's why he's getting an aliyah in the second one. Continues the Machaber. Aval, however, shleisha gavri b'shleisha svarim. Three people in three different aliyos, kigoin, for example, Rosh Chodesh Teves, Shachal aliyos b'Shabbos, then lekum mishum pekam. So one person in two different Sefer Torah is a pekam, but three people in three different Sefer Torah, that is not a problem. So explains the Mishnah Berurah over here, Sivkatan Yud Zayin, B'Shnei Sifrei Torah, Bein Binyan Echad, says Mishnah Berurah, whether it's in one topic, Ubein B'Shnei Inyanim, or whether it's in two different topics. Kigoin, for example, B'Shabbos Rosh Chodesh B'Yantav Tedina Hu Shekarin Lemaftir B'Sefer Achad. Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, that the halacha is, or Yantif, that you read Maftir in a different Sefer. Sheniglal Haniglal Kavar. It's already rolled. Umuchan, and it's prepared La'isa Makam. Kadesh La'isach L'Liglal B'Tzibur Sefer Rishon reminds the Mishnah Berurah of the critical and paramount importance of Tircha D'Tzibura. We should not be winding Sifrei Torah in the middle of laning. Kanal Sif Gimel, as we've seen in the previous year. Ein likros mishalu ba'achrayna she'alu gam kilim after b'sefer hasheni. You can't double up aliyos. We can't say that the one that got the last aliyah in the previous sefer is going to get the aliyah in this sefer. Afilu ein sham acher she'edei lahaftir. Even if there's no one else that knows how to say maftir. Seems like the first Torah is possible. Ella, what should he do? You should roll the first sefer there. It's only a pagam if you get aliyahs back to back, but if someone got an earlier aliyah, will be able to get this aliyah. It's like you're laning from Nuv. That it's awesome. Because people are going to say and think that, oh, now they found the psul, shall say Torah Rishon. You could get multiple aliyos. And this is a halacha that actually probably every Simchas Torah people wonder about. You already got an aliyah, you're still allowed to get chasam reishis. Machmas, why? Some other reasons to be makel tafka on Simchas Torah. We'll see the Dirshu in a moment. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Shleisha Gavri, three people with Shleishas farm. Trey Gavri betrays farm. Yimir to Rishon, and Shleisha Likra, the Sefer Torah, Shleishas the Maftir. So I've looked at Mechila as we just saw. Shchali is B'Shabbos, Echad Kari B'Ninu Shal Yaim, and the Sheni the Maftir, B'Shal Rosh Chodesh, V'Shlishim Shal Chanukah the Maftir. Lekam B'Shapagam, Afilu B'Nyan Echad, Ayin B'Brim Gadna. So before we continue, let's take a moment and let's see the Dirshu over here. Says the Dirshu that number 11, Mutter Lekros Chasab Reishis, very get aliyah. Similarly, we learned Tavari Samach Tes. So nu leids as Zaysa Bracha is able to get Chasab Reishis, and we add on over there. Even Chasab Torah, Sha'af Shachasab Torah in Yoch Lalois L'Chasab Reishis. You can't get both. Becoming based on Acher Yoch Lalois. If you got Chasab Torah in one base, you've got the last Liyah Chasab Torah in one shul. You get Chasab Reishis in another, and having another minion. Okay, Ayin Sham. What's the reason? The obvious reason, everyone knows that it's Simchas Torah. Everyone knows that's the reason why everyone's getting aliyahs. We don't have to be worried that someone's going to think that the Sefer Torah is possible. Continue with Siman Kof Mem Hey Dinei Hamitar Gimin. We'll call it a little bit of a lost art, but Let's see its relevance. Says the Mechaber Siman Kof Mem Hey. B'mei Chachmei HaGemara Yonogin L'Targim Tisha V'Noham. Turns to the Gemara, they were accustomed to L'Targim, to translate to the Torah so people could understand it. Ein HaKoirei, the one who's leaning Rashi Likros the Turguman, he's not allowed to call to the Turguman Yosef Pasik Echad, more than one pasuk at a time. Nor is the Mitargim, the translator, allowed to say his part until he finishes. The first guy finishes leaning the pasuk. Now the Baal Kairi can start the next pasuk until the Targum finishes. And the one who leans cannot raise his voice more than the guy translating. Nor can the Targum more than the Baal Kairi. So the Targum and the Baal Kairi have to be equal level voices, and one has to be after another. They cannot overlap. Of course, this calls to mind the lachs of duchning that we saw, the critical importance of going back and forth. And the Baal Kairi is not able to help the Mitargim. Targum kasav v'Torah, because we don't want people to think that the Targum is actually written in the Torah. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sekatan Aleph, Nogin leTargum b'Lashon Targum, Kilashayin and Haramis. They used to speak Aramaic, so that's the translation would be in the language that they spoke. Maybe I'm a Targum. What's the reason we're going back and forth? What's the reason for the strong emphasis? Not to mess people up. You could hear the entire parsha. So you could hear and understand the entire parsha. And we said one cannot raise his voice if Katan Gimel Dechsev, as the pasuk says. Moshe Yedaber v'lo b'kol, and God would answer this voice. I b'kol l'shal Moshe. We see even Hashem or Moshe Rabbeinu, whichever one you want to say. Moshe Rabbeinu was being the Mitargim, and then Hashem wouldn't raise his voice kaviyachol louder at all. And we continue with Sif Gimel says Sif Beis, Katan Mitargim alidei gadol. Katan is allowed to be Mitargim with a gadol. Aval eno kavod legadol sheitargim alidei katan. But it's not covered for the gadol that the Mitargim should be the Katan. Hoyena says Sif Gimel, that which we're all waiting for. Lo inagu letargim mishom. The Matos Mitargim Kivin Shein Mavino, because we don't understand Targim, we don't understand Aramaic. Says Mishmur of Katan Dalit Shein Mavino Isai Vein Leimer. Don't say no man the Farish coming Achlo Ambalosh Avinu. Maybe we should say every pasuk in English, in Ivrit, in Russian, whatever the people understand. Don't say that. Why? Tishaini Targum Shenit Kam Beruach HaKodesh. We know Targum was written by Uncle Sager, and it was written with Ruach HaKodesh. Ein Magibrayin She'evi B'Shem Tashbeitz. Shkam Ato Rosh LeTargum Lo Shetargum says the Tashbeitz. You're allowed to be Targum in Targum. Av Shein Mavino Yisayim Shom Shenit Kam Beruach HaKodesh. El She'ein HaTargum Ma'ake. Before we call it a day, let's just see Dirshu over here, note number 1, in which he discusses that Targum was written Baruch HaKodesh, as we mentioned, by Uncle Sager. Says Dirshu over here, quoting the Chsam Sofer. The Chsam Sofer goes on to explain that it's impossible for any person to be mechavein in the Pashim Shad of the Torah, unless Moshe Rabbeinu heard Shei from Hashem, and even still, even to translate to oneself, it's impossible to do. What about Rashi? Says Ramesh Feinstein, again, even that you shouldn't do. Even though regarding Shnai Mekar Targum, which we'll get soon enough, we know that Rashi is considered like Targum, but that's only for Shnai Mikra. But with regard, this is a higher level. As Ramesh says, and as the Mishnah Berurah just taught us a moment ago, it's like Kabbalah Satayra, V'lekim Yanenu B'kol. So you'd have a higher level, therefore, a pirush of the Rishayim, even Rashi. What greater pirush than Rashi? Even like Rashi is not enough. Only the Targum of Uncles or Yonisam Ben Uziel or Moshe Feinstein adds on, because these were given Alpi Ruach HaKodesh. What about Ben Gavra LeGavra? In between Aliyah, says Moshe Feinstein, you should not darshan the parsha between Aliyahs. Why? Because if that was true, he should have told us that's what we should do. That's the reason why, of course, nowadays we lane, and then we lane weiter, and we don't be metargim in the middle. Pick it up from Siman Kuf and Vav in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.